returning to our final segment, good points there, Tim and Tony, the Federal Reserve. Now, we'll make it a little longer this time than we usually do because the Fed has been I better not use that word. And I was going to. I'm searching for the right word. Maybe you can give it there, Tim. The Fed, of course, has told us they're going to keep rates this low until 2013, unless things change, in which case we'll change them.
Right. Right.
Which I'm like, what does that mean?
It's kind of like situational ethics.
Exactly, situational ethics. So what's the Fed going to do when they meet next time, which is September the 20th and 21st?
Well, I think what you're going to see is they may do what we've heard of people talk about as this Project Twist. Twist.
Chubby
right.
checker.
That's right.
That's even before.
Project
even
Twist.
before my time and well before your
That's
time.
right.
Chubby checker with a twist.
What you're going to be seeing is the Fed will probably be extending maturities on the assets that they own. So they're going to go out and buy that. But that can have what they're trying to do, Ernie, is I think they're trying to keep the rates low on the short end, which they have a lot of effect over. But if they're going to be switching out, they're going to be flattening that yield curve, and I'm not sure that's a great idea. And
folks, what that means is what I think you explained it well. Not that you didn't explain it well, but they're going to be buying long bonds, the long-term maturities, and selling the short. Meaning long-term rates come down, short-term rates will be pushed upward.
Could come up with, and that's going to flatten the yield curve. That's not necessarily good.
No, they'd have to. They'd almost have to. What you call a twist.
Right.
I mean, can you imagine QE1, QE2? This is sort of QE3 with a twist.
With a twist.
With a twist, meaning short rates come up. In other words, before they were just increasing their holdings, and that meant they were buying long bonds.
Right.
They weren't selling short.
Right.
So, Tony, what's the Fed going to do?
Well, I wish that they just, agree not to actually discuss the economy and just go right to the cocktail party, afterwards. But unfortunately, they'll probably continue this muddled kind of policy. I mean, look at it. Here we're trying to say, on one hand, that the problem is jobs, lack of jobs. Right now, not 3 years from now, not long-term rates. So what they're thinking about doing is lower long-term rates and raise short-term rates.
Right.
I mean, that seems antithetical to me in terms of what we need to create jobs in the short run. And of course, they're recognizing that they've already poured so much cash in the economy and so much cash already exists, so they realize, well, maybe we ought to cut back on short-term rates.
Tony, you're a business person. Think like an economist now.
I'm sorry, I've lost my mind.
That's right. I get your. I think you're right, Tony. I mean, these are some, I won't say screwy decisions, but 3 members of the Open Market Committee last time voted against what they did. And what they did, I mean, as you said, Tim, they said we're going to keep rates low until 2013, unless, of course, things change, in which case we'll change.
Right.
Yeah.
What they're doing,
You're like, what? Did I hear that right?
This is just kind of another way to monetize some of the deficit right now, but they're going to be able to allow the federal government.
Meaning increasing the money supply.
Exactly.
Inflation up.
No, not inflation up. No, this is where I completely different. The cash in circulation right now, over the last even 5 years or so, really hasn't changed much. The Fed's balance sheet has skyrocketed.
That's because banks are not lending,
exactly.
not because of the money, not because of the pump. The pump's on. The pump's on.
Right? That's right. The pump is on, but nobody's taking a sip. But here's what's happening: is the Fed is still sitting on a tremendous amount of mortgage-backed assets. They've made a huge amount of money on that.
Okay.
And absolutely, they've made a huge amount of money on
the cocktails, Tony.
That's right.
Cocktails.
But what's happened is that we still haven't seen. We don't see inflation until we get wage pressure.
Back to the
right,
last thing. There's a pump there, but there's a big bucket, and we filled that bucket up. Eventually, we're going to have inflation. You can't increase supply without inflation.
Yeah, but it's not the money that's going. It's sitting. This is what happened, though. You had people who had assets. They held them in stocks and bonds and real estate. They sold them. Now they're holding them in cash. The increase in the money supply was almost identical to the change in the individual deposits. They're holding them in. They're holding their wealth in cash right now rather than in assets.
Yeah, but Tim, the year
Eventually
over
they're going to spend cash.
year over year,
it's going to go back into assets.
Year over year, inflation's at 3.6% now. So, and then you add that, like I said, the misery index is
Right.
we put the inflation rate to the unemployment rate, and you get the highest it's been since 1984.
But remember, that's all by design. That's in order to make
Well,
sure that the Fed doesn't. We don't go into a deflationary
if you want to let
spiral.
economists guide this economy, which we were talking about,
Right.
Bernanke, putting us in inflation up to 4 to 5%, accepting that as what we're going to see the rest of this decade, boy, that's problematic. So, well, anyway,
Wage
thanks.
pressure.
Wage
That's right,
pressure,
wage
got to
pressure.
have.
Not going to happen.
You
You're
don't
not going to
believe
see that
any
for 5 years.
inflation. I'm on Tony's side, I think. He and I are on the side of higher inflation. So, anyway, thanks, Tony.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for being
You bet.
with us today. Tim Bastian, Tony Henderson, thanks for being with us. And this has been, I think, it's a troubling time, but a time of opportunity. So let's look for what the Fed does on the 20th and 21st. Look for let's see, we've got the employment report on October the 7th. And then let's see other factors, like I said, the Greek.
Politicians' speeches all in between.
Yep, and
That's right.
what we have in Greece, what goes on in the pigs, Portugal, Ireland, Italy, Greece, and
Yep.
Spain. Those are things to be watching. So, folks, thanks for being with me, with Tony Henderson, Tim Bastian, with Manor Investment Services, Investor Services. Thanks to both of them for joining us. I think it's been a lively discussion today. And until between now and our show in October, may your economic cup runneth over.